So you're done. You've retired from wrestling.
Retired, baby. Hall of Fame.
So you're done. Because we know how wrestling retirements work.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm definitely driving up the price. So, never say never.
Okay. So never say never.
Yeah.
That was rock hard. Jake Hager, formerly known as Jack Swagger, in what I thought was a fantastic interview by Chris Van Vliet. As always, great job by Chris. Very fascinating. Does it make it creepy when I do the Vince McMahon voice, or does that add to the effect? God damn it. Jake Hager's done, man. Had enough with his pro wrestling career. He sat down to talk to CVV all about it. He's a trucker now. Bro be hauling trucks.
I'm excited about it.
So you got a trucking company with the greatest name ever.
I think I'm witty. It's pretty good. Like, if you like Hall & Oates music, I mean, what else you can call your... It was either Hall & Oates.
Your company's called Hall & Oates.
Yeah, with an apostrophe, LIN. We got our motto is making your dreams come true. Ho, 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 ho.
A lot of singing in this interview.
Yeah, the scotch has me feeling very good. It was either Hall & Oates or it was going to be Go Truck Yourself.
A twist that, frankly, I didn't see coming. Not only is Hager done with pro wrestling, we all know how that goes, as CVV pointed out. It's never say never. It's always never say never. But he's also done with MMA. He's just out of all of it. Now he's moved on. Now he wants to be a trucker. He's leading a full and complete civilian life. As a single dad, bro, just got divorced, just sold the house, probably had to sell the house because of the divorce. He's going through a goddamn midlife crisis. And in this crisis, he has decided, I am done with pro wrestling, which is shedding a very fascinating light on what seems to be a frustrated Jake Hager. Frustration that started in his time with WWE as he was given an opportunity, but there was a lot of people within the company that held him down or did not see it in him. One of very strong significance is John Cena, our boy. The retirement, the never seen 17. Holding down Jake Hager because he just didn't like him. I don't fucking know. Check out this clip.
Is there truth to that story that Cena didn't want to put you over when you won Money in the Bank?
Oh, yeah. He absolutely refused to do it.
Did he told you that? Or was just like, was that the original plan? Was the original plan for you to win?
He didn't tell me
WWE
that.
Championship?
I was told that was what happened. Like, his original plan was I was going to beat him Monday night on Raw and not do the tease. But like, I'm a young guy. I mean, I've been there for a cup of coffee. So what are you going to do?
Wow.
Yeah. But like, I'm not the only guy he's done that to. He did that throughout his career.
So you rarely hear this take on John Cena because John Cena is so beloved, both amongst fans and other wrestlers. But there was a time in pro wrestling in the early 2000s there where John Cena was using his newfound political power backstage as being a top guy to hold down competition. He did it with Alex Riley as well as another name. Hager didn't name him here. I'm sure there are others that I'm not going to try to think of while I'm recording and sit here and go, But John Cena has a history of that, and probably some that we are not familiar of either. But he's not the first person to do this in wrestling either. It's kind of become a top guy thing. Hulk Hogan criticized of holding people down or saying that doesn't work for me, brother, or that sort of thing. Up until Shawn Michaels, he was regarded as being difficult to work with, a pain in the ass, bitchy all the time with Vince. bitching about everything and stuff backstage. Moved to Stone Cold Steve Austin. Stone Cold Steve Austin politics. He didn't want to work with Jeff Jarrett, famously. And then there was a time he walked out on the company because he didn't want to work with Brock. Jim Ross will tell you, he was just talking about it on his podcast recently when he was talking about Hulk Hogan, why Steve never wanted to work with Hogan at WrestleMania. And then him being pissed off about the match with Scott Hall. Like, you can't have it both ways. But that, again, top guy mentality. Then to John Cena from there. And John Cena, as good as he is and as beloved as he is, he played that game. That's a top guy game. And unfortunately, Swagger was a victim of that. But that is not the only source of Hager's frustrations in the professional wrestling business, as his most recent stint in professional wrestling saw him doing a bid over in AEW, along with a bunch of other guys that jumped over from WWE to AEW at the time. And he was really close with Chris, still is, looks up to Chris. And he just had a horrible time there. And he had some pretty harsh things to say about Tony Khan. Check out this clip.
The hat could have been way bigger, but he didn't like me. Like, I pitched an idea. I think this is great. And like, I wanted to turn into Groot from Guardians of the Galaxy, where I would say, I like this hat, and everybody in JAS would know what I'm saying. I'm not saying I like this hat. I'm not saying I am Groot. They would just play off of it.
Yeah, that's good.
Dude, yeah. But
did you pitch this?
I pitched it, yeah. I pitched it.
Well, I'd be in. We could do this entire interview with you just saying, I like this hat.
I like this hat.
Do you feel like there was a moment where you stopped loving wrestling?
Absolutely. I'm very jaded from my exit at AEW. My first contract with AEW was up, and after that, we were like the negotiation process was very one way, and I could tell that. Well, anyways, I always find a way to say this every day, so I think everyone should too. Say fuck Tony Khan. I could tell that he didn't want me there. He offered me like a year and a half. I was like, bro, I just did Stadium Stampede twice. Like, don't act like Stadium Stampede didn't put AEW on the map. I was in the debut episode. I was the big spoiler, and you offer me 18 months after all that. So it was that and the way that he started running the business that it really, like, he wasn't a professional. Like, after all the Punk shit that went down, the boys got together and we had a meeting, and this was the boys only, no office, right? And we're all like, Sting's in there, Show, Jericho, Bryan, Mox, they're all standing at the front, kind of like talking us through this shit. And lo and behold, who comes into the room storming in? Daddy's Little Billionaire. And he's like yelling at us because I think it was Dax and Cash and Wheeler didn't want to come in. They didn't like the storyline, so they refused to come to TV that day. And he was like, listen, I'll put you in a 6-man 6 minutes before the show, and you're going to do it. And we're all just like, all feeling disrespected. And I still to this day wish I would have stood up and said, a lot of things. But like, you just told Sting that you're going to put him in a 6-man in 6 minutes, but then you're going to honor him for his retirement. We became his little playthings. We had to wait outside his office. His storylines were very good at debuting, but he could never carry anything through. And it got to the point where I'm carrying on, but it got to the point where I couldn't tell him anything. He couldn't take criticism. He was fucking up, and we were all just having to deal with it. Like, we all had blood, sweat, and tears put into that company. We were all there at the beginning. Like, we all had our careers behind us that helped build that company. And then we all had to just sit side by side and couldn't do anything because he wanted to run it the way he wanted to run it.
Now, first of all, it's worth clarifying that Jake Hager is not exactly the prize pig, right? Like, he's not somebody you're going to throw $1 million bajillion at, you know? He was almost basically on the roster as a favor to Chris Jericho. That said, like, I don't hate Jake Hager as a worker. I mean, he's not great in the ring, but you can do something with his character. Even if it's something as simple as his pitch that he said that he pitched to Tony on the CVV show here about the Groot. I like this hat, but it means something different every time. Like when Groot says, I am Groot. That's funny. There probably wasn't much legs to that, but it would have gotten over for a month or two probably before it got old, like everything else that surrounded Jericho in AEW. But I think you could have found something to do with him. But that said, like, I'm not mad at Tony Khan for deciding, like, yeah, I don't really like, I don't even really particularly like you or have all that much interest in you. And I'd rather just not do business with you. But I really like Chris, and Chris really likes you. So, I mean, I'll make you an offer. Well, it's not going to be like an amazing offer. What do you do? Go back to WWE? I think they missed an opportunity to really get behind Hager in his MMA career because it would behoove AEW to have one of their stars be like a prominent, strong, dominant MMA fighter. So I would have probably backed him, even financially, as a company, sponsored him, allowed him to go off and train in that sort of thing, promote his fights, try to do that kind of thing, but also lean into the comedy stuff. But at the end of the day, I'm not mad that he was let go. What this does, though, is it leads more to the conversation about Tony Khan. There's a lot of AEW fanboys out there. I get that. I get a lot of you love you some AEW. AEW. Every time Tony Storm sniffs a chick, every time Moxley sticks a fork in somebody's face, you guys eat that up. But you get to a point where you hear enough stories, and it started with, remember when Joey Janela was released, and he said, oh, Tony just left me hanging, and he never called me back. And you're like, yeah, well, I mean, Joey Janela. Pfft, who cares? I would have did the same thing, right? That's what most people thought. But then you hear it from another person, and another person, and another, and another, and another. Now you hear stories like this, and now you hear that Tony's bursting in locker rooms and bitching and stuff. It's worth noting that Dax of FTR had refuted that claim on Twitter. Cash and I were at the all-talent meeting. Cash and I were at the all-talent meeting that was called by Brian, Jericho, and Mox. Tony never interrupted. Cash and I have never refused to show up to work, and I dare to say, if you look at our schedule since Collision started, we're the most consistent talent that make both shows every week. I'm shouting at the Caps. I'm not really sure where all this is coming from, but it's mostly not true. That's Dax of FTR. So I don't know. Dax is known to be a company man. We'll say that. He loves him some Tony Khan, even though he's friends with Punk and stuff, and, you know, had a little rough patch with the Bucks and everything like that. He seems to stick up for his company. Okay, fine. Maybe Hager's making it all up, but it's just another story. I'm sure a lot of AEW fans will say Hager's making it up. Tony can do no wrong. I understand. I get you. I hear you. But it's yet another story from another talent who talks about the unprofessionalism of Tony Khan. He's got a hot idea when it starts, and then it just kind of peters out, and he kind of loses interest in you. You're not the shiny new toy anymore. You know, he said, he flat out, Tony Khan is basically like, plays with his wrestlers like they're toys. The cool new ones get the shine, and some of the older ones get thrown in the box, and he's got enough money to not give a shit about it. That's just how Tony Khan does business, and it's bullshit. But hey, again, Jake Hager is not exactly like a mega star or anything, right? He's a name. He's had a career that was definitely serviceable as a world champion and undefeated MMA fighter and all of that jazz. Friends with Jericho. Cool, man. Cool. But at the end of the day, you know, whatever. If Tony didn't want him, he didn't need to keep him, and he didn't keep him. So there's that. But fucking just the way of handling things, when you hear enough of that, it's like at some point it's got to be true, right? At some point it's got to be true. Anyway, Hager's been run out of the wrestling business, at least for now. Love to know your thoughts on the whole interview. I played a few different clips and kind of went all over the place with this because I thought it was just such a fascinating interview. CVV is so good. Chris Van Vliet, so good at what he does. Plus, Hager was kind of drunk, so he was pretty loose, a little loosey-goosey. Might regret a few things he said, but hey, it makes for a fun interview. Let me know your thoughts on all of it down in the comments below. While you're there, hit the like button, hit subscribe if you like the cut of my jib. Also got a book out, The Gathering, A Bold Journey into the Belly of the Juggalo Underworld. It's funny. It's got a high star rating on Amazon and Audible. You will love it, I promise. And it's short. It's an easy read. Peace, love, and pizza. I am your boy, Seth Grimes. And we will catch you in the next video, baby. Bro, thanks for checking out the video. You can find more great videos by hitting the subscribe button. And bro, while you're down there, hit that like button, leave a comment, and all of that other crap. Bro.